So if I go into the grouping by method, what it is taking, two things, the classifier and the downstream. Classifier is for mapping the input elements, like I said, the key value pair. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Code with Ease by Varsha. So we have been doing a playlist on core Java interview questions, and these are the questions which we have covered already. So today we are going to do a part 2 of Java streams question. The part 1 of this particular series was something like this, where for Java 8 streams we have covered with live code demo 10 most important coding questions. So if you guys are new to Java streams, I have talked about it in details in the video. We also have a GitHub documented readme in that, and then I have done a live code demo from scratch on most of the commonly used operations that we use in Java 8. Today we are going to do a part 2, which means we are going to go one level up. We will try to cover more intermediate level questions so that we can get more hands-on experience on most of the commonly used streams related APIs that we have in Java 8. So let's move on to the IDE and let's start the code. We are into the IDE. We are going to do the first question, which is we are given a sentence and we have to find and print the frequency of each word. So we are given this string. Now how do we get the words out of it? We have to do a split based on the white spaces. So what do? We will use arrays.stream sentence.split, split it on multiple white spaces. So we'll use this regex. Now the main thing, now we have to do a grouping of this. So we'll use a collect, and inside this we are going to use collectors.grouping by. So let's classification. Okay, so I just want to map it. See, I am having, when I do a split on basis of the multiple white spaces, I'm getting an array which is consisting of words. Now each word is having different case. So just for homogeneity, just for similarity, I want to convert everything to a lowercase. So I'm going to use a method reference where I'll specify string.toLowercase. This is like a mapping which I'm doing. So I'm mapping it. Every word is now converted to string.toLowercase. After doing this, I have to do some kind of a reduction. So what is the reduction which I want to do? I want to do count. So you can think of it like a key value pair. There is a word Java which is repeated twice. So Java, and then on the value I should have 2. Then I have is, and then on the value I should have 2. So for doing that, I have to give one more reduction to this, and that is collectors.counting. So if I go into the grouping by method, what it is taking, two things, the classifier and the downstream. Classifier is for mapping the input elements, like I said, the key value pair. And secondly you have the downstream, which is the collector which implements the downstream reduction. What is the reduction we are doing? We are doing the counting on this. So this much so far is clear. Now what is this actually going to return? It is going to return a map. A map of what? Map of the string that you have and maybe the count. So we can call it like the word frequency map. This is what we get, the map, and this is what we can print it out. So we are getting the word frequency map. So let's try to run this. So this is what we get. We get A, which is coming once. Then we get Java, which is coming twice. Then versatile language. So we are basically nothing but getting the key value pair. So that is what we are doing, and we are able to print the frequency of every word. So we learned how do we use the collectors.grouping by. Next is we are given a list of integers and we have to find out all the numbers starting with 1. So let's start with the list of integers. Okay, so now we have to find out the numbers which start with 1. So how do we do this now? Now this is interesting because you have to apply a filter function. Now filter is something which we have already covered in the part 1. So what do we do in this? It's a list. We can do nums.stream.filter. Now the interesting part is in string we have something called starts with method. So which means every integer now has to be converted into a string equivalent. So what we can do over here? So now we can just maybe take this as n and we can call string.value of. And we can pass in the name. So what is n over here? N is every integer, the integer object. Now once we do this, on top of this, what we can do, we have converted each integer into its string equivalent. On top of it, we can do the starts with. We can say whether it starts with 1. And then after we have done that, we can collect it into a list and later print it out. So we have got our list of filtered numbers. So you can just say we have got a list of nums with 1. I mean starting with 1, whatever. Just print this out. Let's try to run this. You can just comment out the previous one. And we got all the numbers which are starting with 1. So this is how we have used a filter function, and we have used actually a nested, we have used a filter function where we have done two operations. We have first converted into the string equivalent and then we have done a starts with. This was simple. Now moving on, we are given a list of names. We have to again do a grouping over here by the first letter and then count the number of names in each group. So if I say with A, I have Alice, I have Amy, I have Anna. So three people whose name starts with A. Then with B, I have two people, Bob and Bill. And then with C, I have one person. So how do I do that grouping? It is also going to return a map after all. But we have to group it on the basis of the first letter. And remember, we are given an array over here. So we have to do arrays.string. So this is very basic. If you have a list, you have to do nums, the name of the list dot stream. But if you have an array, you have to use arrays.stream and then you have to pass in your primitive array over here. So what do we have here? We have the names. So we take in the names over here. Now over here again, we have to do the grouping. So what do we do? Collectors.grouping. So we know the drill. Now here we have to group it on the basis of the first letter. So how do we get? Each of these is nothing but a string. How do we get the first letter? Char out of 0. So what do we do over here? We will just say s dot char out of 0. So we are doing the classifier that we have is the first grouping that we are doing basis of extracting the key, that is the first letter of every word. After that, once we have done that, we can simply call our reduction, and that is collectors.counting. Just close it. And we have to close it over here. Again, what is this going to return? This is also going to return a map. What is this going to return a map of? We are going to get our string and we are also going to get our count. So names map, you can name something like this. Oh, oops, this is a character because we are doing a caret, so we are going to get the character. Yeah. So now we can just print out our names map. So you can just comment the first one out and run this. So we got with first letter, that is with A, we got 3 names because we have to group them by the letter, right? So caret is anyway going to give you the letter. So with A you have 3 names, with B you have 2 names, and with C you have 1 name. So this is a powerful operation that we learned, the collectors.grouping by, where you can group it on the basis of whatever you want, but just to be sure that your classifier and your downstream, the reduction which you're doing, is the correct one that you're doing. Okay, moving to the next one. We have to find and print the duplicate numbers in an array if it contains multiple duplicates. As we can see in this array, it does contain multiple duplicates. So you have to find out if it contains duplicate, and if it is, then we have to print out which are the duplicate numbers. Now, what is the first thing that comes to our mind is, okay, we can make use of a hash set and we can add the numbers to the set. And if the numbers are not getting added to our set, means it is a duplicate. So it's like the rudimentary way of thinking. Now, when we are going to make use of stream, we can do it smartly. How can we do it? We can make use of a map. So let me show you how. So when we use arrays.stream and we pass in our array inside this, so essentially we want to create a map of it. So how do we create a map? We have seen already we can use a grouping by. So what we want to do is, if there is a duplicate number, the occurrence is going to be more than 1. So like we see that 2 is repeating twice. So if we create a map out of it, it will be like the key will be number 2 and the occurrence will be 2 because it has appeared 2 times. So I can do collectors.grouping by, and then I can just take in the number itself. I can just call it the number itself, and I can use the reduction of collectors.counting. So this is going to give me the map. Now the problem is, because these numbers are the primitives, and these and this one and because these are primitives, and the collectors.grouping by are only going to work on objects, so we have to do the boxing, like we know the auto boxing and like we know the boxing and unboxing, converting of the primitives into its wrapper class equivalent or the object equivalent. So we can use something called boxed. So if we use boxing, all of these are converted into the integer equivalent, the integer object. Now we have a map. So far we have a map. When we do a collect of this, so far we have got a map. Now on this map, we have to now find out whether these are duplicate or not. So from a map, what we have to do is we have to do some iteration. So how do we do the iteration? We use entry set. After entry set, we have to stream it. So try to understand this part. This much is giving you the map of integer and long. What is the integer? Here we have the number. So here, what is the integer? The number 2. What is long? The count of the number 2. The count of the number 2 in this data set is 2. So we got a map, and now we are trying to iterate over the map so that we can get what is the key and the value. What do we need? If any value is having more than 1, then that number is a duplicate. Like in case of number 2, 2 is occurring more than 1, which means if I form a key value pair of this, it should look like 2, which is going to be the key, and the value will be 2. So if my value is greater than 1, in that case, I should be able to pick those values. So once I do this dot stream, now I have to run the filter logic, in which I'm going to filter out the values which are greater than 1. So entry, we got the entry, we're going to say entry dot get value greater than 1. We're iterating with the entry set. This is a standard map iteration. If the entry dot get value, this value is greater than 1, then what do we need? We actually want to print out the number which is duplicate. In case of 2, again, 2 is the number which is duplicate. This key we want to print. So how do we print out the key over here? So to do that, we are just going to map it, and we are going to say from the entry, give me the key, map.entry get key. And once we do that, we can just simply try to use a for each loop to just print out whatever the duplicate numbers are. So there are a couple of layers. First, we got a map. Second, we did the iteration over the map. Third, we have tried to do a logic of filtering where we try to get all the numbers whose value is greater than 1. Then we actually just extract out the key and we print it out. So operations look something like we do a group by, we iterate, we do a filter, and then we do a map and print it out. So now let's try to run this. We can comment out the previous sysouts. We get 1, 2, 3 because the number 1 is occurring twice, number 2 is occurring twice, and number 3 is also occurring twice. Let's say I want to add one more number which is occurring twice, or maybe it is occurring thrice. Let's add 5, and now let's run this. We should be getting 1, 2, 3, and 5 as well. So here we go. So this is the logic to find and print the duplicate numbers. Moving on to the next one. Now we have got the duplicate. Now how do we remove duplicates? This is going to be simple. How? Because we will use again arrays.stream. We will pass in. There is a function which is called distinct. So if you are able to stream the numbers, and out of this we are just going to do a distinct, and we are going to collect it inside an array. So to do that we use toArray, and here we can just say this is my new array. So this new array is going to be containing the elements of ARR2 which is not having the duplicate. The duplicates are removed. So if we print it out, okay, we should be doing arrays.toString because otherwise it's going to print out the object reference. Yeah, so these are the numbers, the same array we have used, and okay, so I've used the ARR array, which is over here, and we have got the single occurrence of all the numbers. The duplicates are removed. Moving to the next one. So the next question is, we are given a list of words and we have to filter out and print the palindromes. So here, so far we have seen how do we figure out if a word is a palindrome. Now we are given a list of words. Now over here we have to figure out which one is are the palindromes, and we have to print those out. So what is the logic? What is going to be the logic? Every word or every string that you have, if the reverse of that word is equal to the existing word, it is a palindrome. Basic logic. So what we will do, we are again going to stream this. So we'll say stream. Since we want to run some condition, we will use the filter. So we'll say str, given the str as the input, if the str dot equals. Now I want to reverse it. So the ready-made function that we have is, we will use a string builder, pass in our str, and we'll call the reverse dot toString. So this input level, the string, is it equal to the reverse of the string? If it is equal, then we have filtered out and we have got our palindrome. All of those we are going to collect into a list, and we can just print those. That's it. So we'll just say list of palindrome words, and we are going to print this out. Simple. Let's try to run this. Let me comment out the previous ones. So we got 3 words: level, radar, and deed. These are the 3 palindrome words. So this is how, usually just by using the filter function, we are able to print out in 1 or 2 lines. We are going to figure out how to print the palindromes. Okay. Moving to the next question, how do you merge two sorted arrays into a single sorted array? This is an array based question, very popular question in which we usually use the two pointers to iterate over it. Now what do we want? We want to merge these two arrays and we want to merge it so that the resultant array is a single sorted array. So how can we do this? Here we will learn a couple of different operations. Here we want to stream, we should be streaming both the arrays and then call the inbuilt the function that we have, the sorted method. Now how do we stream this? And while we stream it, we also have to merge it. So we have to use some kind of a concatenation. So there is a method which is called endStream.concat, which takes in two end streams. What is the end stream over here? Now since we are using primitive arrays, we want to stream the values of this primitive array, which is why we are going to use the end stream. So if we do a concat on this, so we have to take in two parameters. So how do we stream? Arrays.stream, we have already seen array1, and we will do arrays.stream on array2. So basically we are creating two different streams of these two arrays, which we eventually want to concat. On that we will call the sorted. And on that we can call the two array, because we want to eventually merge it and create a resultant single sorted array. We'll call the two array. So this is going to give me an array which is my sorted array. And I can just print this out. I can just print it out by using this. I'll just comment out the previous one and let's run this. So we got all the numbers which are now merged into one single sorted array. So let's say I use a couple of different numbers just to shuffle it up, and let's see how it works. We got all the numbers are arranged in the ascending order. So this is how, without even using any loop, without even using any if condition, without any use of any pointers, we are able to leverage the power of Streams API to do this concatenation and do this sorting also. Okay, so moving to the next question, we are given two lists of string and we have to concatenate them and remove the duplicates. So little similar, here we have two primitive arrays, we have two lists of strings, we have to concatenate these two lists. Now these two lists are containing two lists of fruits. We have to again merge these and we have to make sure that the duplicates are removed. The reason I've placed both these questions back to back is one is using primitive array and another is using the list. Here also logic is similar. We want to merge this. So in order to merge two lists, what we can use is stream.concat, which can take in two list streams. So here what we can do is list1.stream and list2.stream. Same thing, we are concatenating by doing two different streams. After doing that, what do we want? We have to remove the duplicates. How do we remove duplicates? We have already seen we can use a distinct API. And after doing that, we can collect it into another list. Simple. So that our resultant list that we get should have both the fruits of both the list, but it should not be containing any duplicates. So list, or maybe we can write it as unique list, and we can print this out. So let's try to run this. So we get apple, banana, orange, kiwi and grape. Because banana is repeated, it's a duplicate value, so we have removed it. So both the questions are similar. In first one we had to sort it out, like we had to sort the resultant array. Here we had to remove the duplicates from the resultant list. So moving to the next question, this is called student grade classification, where 70% is the pass percentage. So students who have got the marks is greater than equal to 70, they are going to be deemed as pass, and the students who have not will be deemed as fail. So here what we are going to do is, classification means we need some sort of a grouping that we need to do. So we will use the same grouping by operator. We will say students dot stream dot, we'll use the collectors dot grouping. And how do we group it? We need some conditions. What is our condition? That given a student as input, this is the classifier, that student dot grade, if it is greater than equal to 70, then we are going to classify that as a string as pass, and if it is not, the false condition is going to be fail. And we know that this thing returns a map. So what is going to be our map? The map is going to be string, is going to be the pass or the fail, and it is going to be a list of student. So we can call it like a student map. So this map is going to, so we need to print out this map. So let's try to run this. We can comment out the previous one. So we see that we got the string as pass, and student Alice, Charlie, and David, three of them have passed because they've got greater than equal to 70 as the grade. Only one student has failed, who has got grade as 60. So in this way, we have been able to do the group by other classification of a given list of objects. Moving on to the next question, we are given a list. The next is we are given a list of strings and we need to sort them according to the increasing order of their length. So we have the length as 5, length is 6, and length is 4. So based on an increasing order as in the ascending order. So kiwi should be first, followed by mango and apple, and then banana. So how do we do this? Here we have to factor in, okay, so what are the things? We have to sort, and we have to sort on the condition that it should be in the ascending order. Not only that, order is there, sort is there, it has to be of a, it has to be on the ascending order of a length, so given a property. So what do we do? So we have to use first the fruits.stream, and now we need to do a sort. Now this sorted can take a comparator. So I've already talked about comparators in one of the videos. I'm going to link it in the description so that you can learn more about comparators also. Comparator dot comparing int. Why comparing int? Length is what we need. Length, the string's length property returns int. So what I will do over here, I've used a method reference. I'm going to say string dot length. So we are going to compare on the basis of the length and then do the sort. That's it. And once we have done that, we can collect it into a list, or we can even print it out. We can do something like this also. We do a for each and we can print it out. Anything is fine. So let's try to run this. We see this is the order on the basis of the length. So let me take a couple more fruits just to give an idea. So now let's run this. So we got pear followed by kiwi, mango, banana, and pineapple. So this is how we have used the sorted operation, the sorted function, and also used comparator, within which we have used the method reference based on a certain property of the given strings, and we have printed it out. So with that, we are going to wrap up our 10 questions for today. We are falling short of time. This video has anyway become very long. So rest of the questions, I'm going to link it in the description, and the code will be available in the GitHub. So the link to that will also be available. And that's all we had for today, where we discussed mostly around the grouping operator, mostly around the grouping by, and we have seen several different examples of doing that. So that is all for today. We have mostly talked about 10 different questions on Streams API. This was the part 2. And let me know in the comments if you want me to make a part 3 of this and continue more with some other, and to play around with some more different questions using different operators. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please like and share this content if you find it valuable, so that it gives us a bit of motivation to bring out more content like this. Thank you so much.